Go on ahead.
Alright.
The floor is yours.
I have the floor. I like floors. Floors are pretty nice. I'm gonna go through some of them in this game, but they're pretty nice. Hi, I'm Laurie.
Oh God, why must you remind me of this?
Hi, welcome to Dust and Elysian Tale, a Metroidvania, I guess you could call it. I think Twitch wants to call it that, and people want to call it that. It's pretty loose on the term, if you ask me. Not too much exploration of, like... I'm gonna play it. I don't really know how to describe it. It's a pretty interesting game. One thing you're gonna notice is the difficulty I'm playing on is casual, despite me not being a casual. There are some benefits. There's also a modded save file that some people in the community use to load right after the opening cutscene and get into the game, because we start our time when we gain control of our character. I tried setting that up one time and didn't know how to get it to work, so I'm not using it. We're just gonna watch this cutscene. Before I start though, I do want to tell this story. So it's funny I'm running this game here. This game was first accepted to Winter Pride 2017. Where I was put at a kind of graveyard time slot, but it was fine until I got sick and like could not stay up, so I didn't get to play the game there. Then this past summer, a friend of mine, Aggie, got the Warps category into the marathon, but had to cancel, and since I don't run Warps, I couldn't back up. So this is the third marathon it's got accepted to, but the first one it's being played in.
It's time to break the dust curse!
Yes! And, are we ready to start? Because I'm ready to start my timer. I don't know if somebody started it during the opening cutscene, but... Okay, it was confusing.
They already started the timer on stream, so just go.
Okay, no, I'd like to restart it, because that's not the proper time start.
Alright.
Yeah, no, I should have clarified that.
We can make that happen.
There's a part in the opening cutscene where you can play as the character, but that's not the opening time. It's when I skip this cutscene. I'm smart.
Alright, you're good to give a countdown.
Alright, I'm gonna get started in 3, 2, 1, go. The first thing you might notice is that I'm not exactly walking like a normal person. I'm also not doing what I want to do. What I'm doing right now is called a rocket jump, where I'm doing a melee combo that usually ends in me flying forwards and then stopping to do a big slash. However, if I jump in between the fly forwards and the big slash, I can just keep the forward burst longer. I'm not getting any rocket jumps because, yes, but that's what I want to do. There we go, like that. Soon enough, though, we get the dodge, which allows us to do a new trick called a ground dodge cancel. Hold up, I'm gonna try something. I usually don't go for this in runs, but I might as well try for the marathon. And I got it! Okay, so what I just did there was a skip called Deer Skip. Usually there's a cutscene where there are all these deers, and then the deers run away, and then you get into a scripted battle sequence, but I just jumped over the trigger for that. And now I'm going to be ground dodge canceling, where it's kind of like a rocket jump type situation, except I cancel the end of a ground dodge, or I cancel the end of a dodge with a crouch stab, and that lets me just dodge quicker in succession. Here I'm doing another trick, I messed it up. So this is an unskippable cutscene where we learn about kind of a unique combat mechanic of the game, which is the Dust Storm. What I was doing was I was trying to click off of the game window to buffer, like to pause buffer, and if I could pause this cutscene on the first frame, it wouldn't recognize this cutscene as a special cutscene, and I would have been able to skip it like any other cutscene, but since I didn't get the frame, we have to watch this cutscene.
Yes, Doc. However, all right.
If this is...
I also don't know if I remember to link this server or this channel in the Discord, actually. Now that I think about it. Oops. Whatever. Too late now. So one thing I'm gonna do... Actually, wait, no. I changed my route, so I'm not gonna do it on this screen. I'm gonna do it on the next screen. But I'm just gonna keep dodging here. This game's combat is kind of interesting. You see me slashing and I'll go up. It kind of wants you to home onto enemies. So, like, if I'm in midair and I slash, I'll get gravitated towards them. And it's just a good way to, you know, get over there. Also, one thing I'm doing is when I'm attacking pillars like that, I'm zigzagging, which, when I hold down my attack button, and my crouch button, and I alternate left and right, that's one of the best DPS methods in the game. Right here, I got the aerial dust storm, and using that, I can dodge cancel in midair using it. I'm gonna get a key there. I did break those 2 pillars earlier to get 2 keys. I want 4 keys exiting this area, and I'm gonna sell them all as soon as I can. So I just grabbed the 4 that are the most on the path. Here, I'm gonna load an autosave. This is kind of weird, and especially because what it actually does, but it's faster to do. And I guess I can explain this mechanic next. So, this is a red barrier. You see when there's enemies on screen, it wants me to fight the enemies, so it puts the red barrier up. However, I can fly over it usually. There's also a combo you can do on a red barrier to infinitely gain height. So, although the game wants us to fight enemies a lot by putting the red barriers there when an enemy's on screen, I try and skip as many as possible. The first part of this prologue area, the Glade, is the hardest to do that in because you don't really have all your moves. But by the end of it, we do. By the way, that's cutscene. There was a cutscene earlier that we weren't able to skip, but I was able to skip it because I loaded the autosave. And now I'm going to skip a whole mini-boss. This is a Rising Dust Storm. I'm canceling a mid-air combo with an Aerial Dust Storm, and I'm gaining infinite height. I go over a mini-boss trigger, and that happens. And I'm in Chapter 1 now. So we have a small cutscene at the beginning of every new area. I'm actually going to be trying to skip a lot of these cutscenes when we enter a new area. But this one we can't. So now we're just going to go through the village here. There are a few NPCs I'm going to talk to, either to buy items or to activate certain quests to continue. You'll see in the bottom left it says quest updated dust to dust. That's kind of this game's progress method. Basically, the game marks kind of things that are done or not done, or events that need to happen based on where you're, based on your progress in the Dust to Dust quest, because that is kind of like the main storyline right there. So, in order to do the stuff we want, we're going to just have to, you know, make progress on that. So here I'm going to sell my keys and buy 6 teleport stones. Teleport stones are an item that let me go back to the world map from any save point. And no, that's not warping. Warping's actually a glitch that lets you access anywhere on any map at any point. They're different things. Here, I'm going to try and push this NPC off screen and then talk to him as I leave the screen. And it plays this cutscene over the introduction to the forest cutscene that you might have seen in the village. It skips that cutscene. So this area is kind of annoying because of red barriers. Necessarily, this is the first area with a focus on enemies that can fly. So what I can do, since I'm on casual, I have infinite stamina, which is how I've been able to dodge so fast. I can also use Fidget's projectiles infinitely, and with chaining them with being able to infinitely aerial dust storm, I can kind of lock the flying enemies in place with Fidget projectiles in order to not have too many problems with them. The forest here is pretty similar to the Glade, actually. Not even in terms of atmosphere, although it is kind of similar, but just in terms of what you're doing. There's nothing I really have to do other than just get to the end of the area. So, it picks up later, for sure. But in the early areas, I'm just kind of trying my fastest to get from screen to screen. While I'm doing this, I guess I can explain one thing. So, that property I mentioned earlier where you can kind of home attack in midair on an enemy applies to aerial dust storms, and in fact, it's way bigger on aerial dust storms than normal attacks. So we call that a boost. However, for some reason, there's a special type of boost where you can, like, get a lot of height off of basically anything, and nobody knows how to pull it off. But I seem to pull it off pretty consistently, so it's called the Laurie boost. I don't even know how it works. Neither does anybody else. It's cool. So, at this save point, we need to bring these bombs over here up to the next screen. I kind of messed up a little bit, but it's fine because I still have a bomb. We're going to skip this cutscene. Coming up, though, we're going to have some of the most important parts of Chapter 1. So we'll see how I do on those. But first off, I have to get rid of these pillars and grab this key. This key, you see on the right side, is very important. Because I sold all my keys earlier for teleport stones. But I do need to open a treasure chest. Using Rising Dust Storms, we can do a trick called Early Flesh Sheath, which happens up here. So I don't have the ability to climb vines yet. I'm supposed to get that in Chapter 3. However, using Rising Dust Storms and some damage boosts off of spikes, I can get up this passage that usually requires the Iron Grip, which is the vine climbing ability, way earlier than intended, and get to this treasure chest. This treasure chest, as the name Early Flesh Sheath implies, has a Flesh Sheath, which is an item that will up my attack by 150. It's pretty overpowered at this point in the game. And it's good, because we have a boss coming up, so we get to use it. I'm actually going to be skipping that boss. So this is going to be fuse skip. I'm going to jump. I'm going to try and jump, save the game, and dodge all at the same time here. And then save the game. So I set up a glitch using this called a save point height relocation, where I kind of change my position by dashing off of a save point as I save. And it saves the position of the save point, like the horizontal position of the save point, but it saves the height of where I made the save at. So if I do that, I can get under the map, which under the map stored is a projectile item that usually marks the... I'm going the wrong way. That usually marks the first boss as completed, because you're supposed to get it after the first boss. And then I go back onto the screen because of the way that Out of Bounds works in this game. And I get... I use a teleport stone to leave the screen. Something interesting about that is actually... So, the fireball projectile is what tells the game that I am, done with everything in the chapter. So I don't need it. But the other interesting thing about that is actually I skipped a cutscene where we were supposed to see the villain. Because you're supposed to leave that area using a certain screen of, the screen after the boss fight. But since I got the fireball, the game knew I could go to Chapter 2. So I already had everything. So I left the screen on the boss screen, and not the screen the game wanted me to leave on. And it doesn't have the cutscene data for leaving on that screen. So I didn't have to watch cutscene. Coming up, we have Chapter 2. I didn't get very lucky and get, really good red barrier stuff throughout this run. If I had not leveled up twice at this point, I could have leveled up just as I entered this area, and then the little explosion that knocks you backwards when you level up would have knocked me into the screen transition, and then I would have been able to re-enter the screen and skip that cutscene because the game would think I've already been here before. But again, I didn't get to do that, so... We have another cutscene here. We're going to be introduced to enemies. These enemies are going to be pretty important in the caverns. I don't care about them. I can fly around them. Although they are called Rockhounds, so shoutouts to Rockruff. Very good Pokemon. So here, there's an enemy there. I'm actually going to be getting rid of the enemies here because I'm going to need to guide some bombs around. And those enemies will... Okay, never mind. However, I actually skipped the trigger to make a lot of enemies in this room spawn. So I don't have to fight all the Rockhounds. However, I couldn't get a boost back up to this part of the map quicker. This is a game, I guess. So I need to kind of use bombs here. I'm going to do another thingy soon. I'm going to do another save point height glitch on this save point. I don't need to jump on this one because I don't need to reach the distance I need to reach isn't that far away like the one in Fuse Skip was. So I can go into the map. This skips 2 cutscene chains of 3. So there are cutscenes which I can skip easily. But sometimes you notice I get in a cutscene chain where I have to skip a cutscene and then watch an animation before another cutscene starts and skip that cutscene. That's a cutscene chain. I just skipped 2 of those that are both 3 cutscenes apiece by going under the map and skipping the triggers for them. If I fall down here, I can usually just do boost stuff and get hit up by a rockhound. Here I'm going to try and go for a funny glitch that doesn't save any time, but it's funny. And I got it. So the trigger for this cutscene reaches infinitely high. However, I hit it on a platform above where I was watching the cutscene. So the cutscene that I just skipped through actually happened below me. Doesn't save any time, but it's one of my favorite glitches in this game. And now we're going to be going to we're kind of in the later half of this chapter, and there's one more glitch we're going to do. I just have to get to that screen. This is one of the red barriers that is like near impossible to skip. But we don't have to worry about getting red barriered as it's obviously slow, but like after chapter 1, EXP route doesn't really mean a thing. So we can just have to deal with all the red barriers that we want, and we won't want to deal with them still, but like it won't be as big a problem. Coming up, I'm about to go up here. So I'm gonna try and do something to skip the rest of Siramon Caverns. I'm gonna boost up here, dash this way. Gonna do another save point height glitch. Right there. Load the save. And then go under the screen. There's a mini-boss trigger on this screen that I'm gonna need to be really careful to skip because I have to go pretty low to skip it. I have a chance of soft lock. Or actually, I have to restart the whole game if I miss it, so I don't know if that's even a soft lock. I didn't hit the trigger, though. So I'm past where the mini-boss trigger is, and I'm back in bounds now. The last thing I need to do is make sure I turn around, which I didn't do. If I had turned around right as I hit the screen transition, I would have gone back to the screen transition, and have been able to skip this cutscene right here, but I didn't do it, so we have to watch our introduction to Mudpot. We're going to have a lot of cutscenes here, and then we're going to do stuff. That's kind of what happens in this game. Alright, so there's one thing I need to make sure I do before I actually continue on playing the game. Okay, can I, like, do the thing? Thank you. I'm trying to just use combos to gain a little bit of height, because that's a good thing you can do, except I keep messing it up, so... I need to get that item, and then I need to go up onto this screen. This screen will be important later, but I need to go there now. The item I got from that old man right there was the red resonance gem. Resonance gates are a thing in this game that let you open... that are open when you get certain colored gems. We're gonna get 2 of them in this run that are required to get. The rest are all optional, so we're not gonna go out of our way for them, because they're never speed related, they're always quest related. But 2 of the quests that are locked behind a resonance gem are story required quests, so kind of have to do them. So now we're in this bottom area of the cavern below the town. There are a lot of spikes down here. When you're on casual, if you die, you just get revived at full health. Casual difficulty. Really makes life a lot easier. But there's a new ability at the bottom of this, which is what I'm trying to get to right now. Just one screen away. One thing I can explain now, because it's about to become a thing with a new ability. You might have noticed it. If I'm on the very edge of a platform and I do a dash, I go, like, way farther with the dash. It's kind of weird, but it can be used in some situations just to get, like, minor speed boosts. And it also applies to the slide, which, hey, there it is. So, yeah, you're going to see me right here. I'm going to slide there, and you see me kind of fly forward farther than any previous slide I did. So, I have the slide now, so I can go through small gaps, which will help me get to the next boss. Unfortunately, we can't skip this one quite like Fuse, but there is a strategy I'm going to try and do. Here, I'm going to use my second teleport stone of the run. So, the reason why I went on this upper screen earlier is because once you go on a screen that has access, that you can travel straight to the world map from, you can go from the world map to that screen. So by going upwards to that screen after getting the Resonance Gem, I was actually able to use my teleport stone to teleport back to Mudpot, and that's just quicker than backtracking the whole slide area. Here I need to get rid of all these rock hounds. And then I'm gonna need a bomb. This bomb is gonna be pretty important because I'm gonna use it for a massive sequence break. So you see it's already kind of starting to like detonate soon. Its counter's already pretty low. For some reason, if you go back and forth here like I'm doing now, I can reset this bomb's timer so hard, it becomes longer than it was originally. So this bomb is now going to take a while before it detonates. And using that, I can fly it over all these enemies because I don't want it to hit an enemy. Bring it onto this screen. If I hit it from down here, it'll go through the little slide place, and then I can use the bomb right on that wall. If a wall is yellow like that, I need a bomb to hit it. So what I actually just did is I just unintentionally opened the exit from the boss fight arena, which has a warp to the boss fight arena. So that's just a faster method of getting to the boss fight arena than going the normal way around. And this boss, Lady Tethys, has a stun lock I'm gonna try, and I did not get. If I got it, she would have stayed in the platform and, like, not have been able to do anything while I just kind of pelted her with crouch stabs. It's a kind of annoying fight when I don't get the stun lock, actually, but it wasn't that bad. I got her into spikes quickly and was still able to get good combos, so it wasn't slow, but still wasn't the best I could have done. So here I'm going to get this projectile for Fidget. This is going to be the lightning bolt or the thunderbolt, one of the two. It's electricity. It's just a faster moving one than the normal energy burst. So I want to get it because now whenever I need Fidget, it'll activate faster. And here we have a very long cutscene chain. It has a lot of cutscenes. It has a lot of very long animations. You're going to see this fade out and fade in into a cutscene twice. Because there's a very deep story involving this family's father. We're trying to save him, and even though we get the healing waters back from Lady Tethys, who was corrupted, we still can't save him. Oh, I'm sorry, we see the fade out and fade in 3 times, because we have to go from outside the house to the funeral. This is a great part of the game. Once this cutscene ends, we're gonna just leave and go to the next chapter. Using boosts there on the 2 enemies on that screen helps me get up it faster. So, this is the type of cutscene that I skipped back in Chapter 1. That's our villain, by the way. That guy in the purple. That's General Gaius. He's the bad guy. So now we're in Chapter 3, the Sorrowing Meadow. First thing I'm going to do, as soon as I find the save point on this screen, is I'm going to load the autosave. The reason why I'm going to load the autosave is because the game recognizes this as a very weird screen. So usually when you enter the second screen of this area is when the game wants to play the cutscene to enter, to welcome you to Sorrowing Meadow. However, the game still considers that map part of the Sorrowing Meadow. Also, how are we on the bees? The bees chest incentive.
1 second.
So I might have forgotten to get an extra key for that.
We are currently a couple $100 off from that.
Alright, well...
that's not unbreachable ground, though. Just saying. There's quite a lot of people in chat right now.
Well, it literally needs to be met within, like, the next 10 seconds.
Better donate quickly, then. I wouldn't expect it, though.
Yeah. But as I said, I think I forgot to get an extra key for that, like, out of muscle memory, so... Oops! I'm having red barrier problems. Alright, so yeah, this mini-boss is gonna be where I wanted to cut it off. This mini-boss, what I'm gonna do is... I'm gonna immediately slide into them. And then I'm gonna juggle them with crouch stabs. Alright, they're gone. Alright, so yeah, at this point, if it's not met, we're not gonna get these. There's a beehive here, though, that is blocking the screen. So it's a consolation, I guess, except this is gonna be part of the run anyways. Yeah, this red barrier is kind of mean because they put a beehive in red barrier range. So here I'm going to set up for a trick that's pretty difficult called Sorrowing Bomb because we manipulate bombs in Sorrowing Meadows. Pretty simple name. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carry those bombs to this side of the screen. Then I'm going to get rid of the enemies on this area. Do some bombs here. Or do some bomb refresh timers here to have them for longer. Once I skip this cutscene, I'm going to get the quest of Sorrowing Meadow, which is going to be to go to 4 different mansions in the area and collect special items for the person that you didn't see on screen because I skipped the cutscene. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very careful with these slimes because these slimes are evil and like to run into your bombs. And I don't want them to run into my bombs because I can use one of them right here and then use the other one after this slime. So that was Sorrowing Bomb. It was just use those bombs to break those walls instead of using the intended bombs to break those walls because the intended bombs are very slow to get. Also, by doing that Rising Dust Storm earlier, I skipped something. I skipped needing the vine climbing ability to get to this part of the game. There's one mansion you're, like, supposed to do first to get the vine climbing ability, and then you can choose. But that's just too restricting for me. I want to be able to choose all 4 at any point. So I'm going to go to the bottom left one first. There's a reason I want to go to the bottom left one first, which I'll explain shortly. I just need to get to there. It's on the next screen. But I'm going to chain that in with another. Okay, so I'm going to be getting on another screen. So every mansion kind of path branches out from that middle section. To the right of this screen is another screen that I can reload on to from the world map. But to reach that screen, I'm actually going to do something kind of silly looking. I'm going to be doing the Sorrowing out of bounds. The Sorrowing Meadow out of bounds. I'm going to be trying to go out of bounds right here by dashing at the right corner and going through a small bit of collision in between the wall and the floor here. It's kind of difficult. There's more clips like... There it is. Okay, I was not expecting to get it like that. But yeah, I'm going to load onto that screen so I can access it later from the world map after using teleport stones. Because it's the fastest way to get to mansions when I need to go back. So that was Sorrowing Bomb, and now, or that was Sorrowing out of bounds. I can reload on this screen. It just skipped traveling through 2 screens that are slower to travel through inbounds. There's actually, I'm gonna just say this now, there's actually a second Sorrowing out of bounds, but I'm not gonna go for it because that one's much harder. But this is our first mansion. I needed 2 bombs, which is why I destroyed that beehive, because otherwise the bees would hit the bombs, and I would not want the bees to hit the bombs. So, in the mansions, this green thing chases us. Well, we try and run away and find the item. The special item that I mentioned we want to find in each mansion. Which is usually the 3rd screen in. For one mansion, it's going to be the 2nd screen in, but for every other one, it's the 3rd screen in. One thing I have to actually make sure I do is I have to actually find, or make sure I actually grab the item. Because if I don't, then I don't get all the quest items and I can't continue. Once you finish the mansion being chased and get the item, you do have enemies and red barriers show up in the mansion, so you will have to deal with those. Usually not that bad. That red barrier right there that I dealt with earlier is like the only one that's actually annoying. Because the rest of them, you can't get red barriered from the door. See, we can just exit even with enemies nearby. This beehive is going to be back, so I'm going to boost off of it and then fly over here. And we're going to be on our way to mansion number 2. I'm going to warp back to this screen, which I actually originally went to out of bounds during the out of bounds, because it's the fastest way back to the middle, and we can choose our second mansion. Okay, if I fall down here, I can just boost. And then there, I can... Usually at that point, you just want to boost off the beehive on that screen to get back to the center quicker. And then the center's the screen to the left of us, but actually I'm going to be going up now. So the next mansion I'm going to go for is the top right one. Which is still not in the intended what I'm supposed to do first. Alright, we're good. Some screens have necromancers on them, which are very hard enemies to kill, and they have a chance of red berrying you if you don't do your movement right. Fortunately, basically every screen that has a necromancer on it has a special sort of movement technique, or a special sort of movement pattern that we can do to manipulate the necromancer to not have it follow us. Or to just have it move in certain ways so that it won't red barrier us. And now we're in mansion number 2. Gonna immediately jump over some walls and stuff. That's the thing, you see I have to break a lot of walls in these mansions. I'm gonna basically try not to break a lot of walls unless they're like straight up exactly in the way. So like these ones I have to break, but there was one I flew over earlier and I'm gonna try and fly through on the way back. That's a short mansion though. I'm already done with it. And then we get a warp point. Alright. Gonna try and fly over that wall that I flew over back at the beginning of the mansion and then leave the mansion. This can be tricky. There's a troll right here. Okay, we didn't get balked by it. It can hit us, and then it's hard to get over if it hits us, because they stun you. Alright, that was mansion number 2. So coming up, we're gonna be back to the center again to go to mansion number 3. You know what, actually? I said I wasn't gonna go for it, but I'm debating on if I should try and show off the second out of bounds. I don't know. What's the opinion? I should do it. Alright, we're gonna try the second out of bounds here. This one might take a little bit. It's a very difficult out of bounds to get, because the slope I have to do it on, it's gonna be set up similar to the first one, but the slope I have to do it on is not very steep, so the clip area is very small. You see, I'm trying to clip here now, and like, it's not an easy one. I'm gonna go for this for a little bit longer, but not too much, because I don't want to spend too much time on this. Alright, Yeah, no. Okay, I'm not going to keep going for it. But the gist of it was I would clip out of bounds there and then show up 2 screens later to do an alternate strat. I'll point out where I go back in bounds if I were to have gotten it, but I'm not going to keep going for that because it's ridiculously hard. It's one of the hardest skips. It's one of the hardest skips in the game, and I think it is straight up the hardest skip that's considered RTA viable and people go for in runs. Because there are, like, harder skips, but that's the hardest one that people try in runs. I would have showed back up and bounds around here, at the bottom of this area. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to wait for the bombs to blow up the beehive, and then blow up all my bombs like an idiot. It probably is a way to make it consistent, but, like, nobody knows it. It's kind of a really crazy small window. The thing is, you can only move forward so much. Like, you can't really move forward pixel perfectly in this game. So you'd have to, like, you kind of have to hit it on a weird pixel where you can't stand still. But you see we have a cutscene for the green guy this time. This is because this is actually the intended first mansion. So, our third mansion is the intended first. And because of that, as I mentioned, it's actually going to be fairly shorter than the other ones. It's going to have 1 less screen than the others. So I just need to, like, go up here and break these pillars. And we get the iron grip, so I can finally climb vines now. Which is something I've already done too many sequence breaks because I was not able to do. So something cool about mansion number 3 is not only that it gives us a new ability, but also is that it has a warp point that leads back to the center, right to the left of it. So we don't need to use a teleport stone and do all the backtracking to get back to the middle from this mansion. Nice. Coming up, we're going to have our 4th and final mansion, which I need to get to right now. It's just up here. This mansion is not very interesting. We just kind of get used to vine movement, where I want to jump off of the vines and keep climbing back on. There's a really weird glitch I can get here called an air jump, where I jump in midair because of weird platform stuff, and it can save a little bit of time if you plan getting it, which you shouldn't plan getting it because I don't even know how, nobody knows how it works. I'm like the only one who gets it too. This game is really weird to me. This is another screen with necromancers. If we just do our dodges well enough, they shouldn't catch up with us. Yep. There's enough distance between the last necromancer on the screen and the last thing that can stop us on the screen and the very end of the screen so that it shouldn't red barrier us if we just move properly. And then we need to go up here. So this is the screen of the last mansion. We just need to get inside it. Alright. So mansion number 4. We just really wanted the vine climbing for this mansion because of this mansion's layout, so that's why I got it when I did. Once I destroy that wall, you can use this ghost to boost, so that's what I'm doing a lot of the time when I'm getting height off of nothing, is I'm ghost boosting. Physics, I guess, I don't know. Not a lot of understanding goes on in this game's community. This game is a pretty small community, actually. And I definitely wish it was bigger because I think this is just a great speed game. If you want to learn this speed game, I definitely recommend joining the Discord because it is a lot of fun. It's pretty challenging, if you couldn't tell. Like, there's a lot to learn and do properly within the span of one run. But there's a lot of... It's still a lot of fun. And Warps is kind of actually a pretty alright entrance category. Warps is definitely easier just because you don't have to do as many skips as Warpless. Because a lot of the Warpless exclusive skips are pretty difficult. Alright, and then I'm going to use the teleport stone. Now that we have all 4 items, we need to bring them back to the person in the middle to spawn the boss. And to answer a question in chat, no. Keyboard and controller don't mean anything in this game. You can use whichever one you want. I just personally used keyboard because when I first played this game, I didn't have a controller. And so I got used to the keyboard controls to the point where the keyboard controls just are better for me. I'm more used to them. Also, this game has a lot of weird input stuff going on. Like every time you want to ground dodge cancel, you have to press your direction, the attack key, and the down key. So it's pretty good to be able to have more freedom with where you put your hands. But coming up, we're going to have our 3rd boss fight. Well, our 2nd, technically. I skipped the 1st one. This is going to be Baron Kane. That's the ghost, by the way. So yeah, we were being chased by the ghost. But with the power of the items we collected, the ghost is not going to be invincible. So this guy can do 2 attacks. He can either do the swipe thing, or he can do like a stomp with his hands. If he does a stomp, we don't have to move. But if he does a swipe, we have to move. And if you move too far away from him, which I accidentally did, he spawns a lot of zombies. And that's not a good thing, because some of them can be explosive. And we don't like explosive zombies in our boss arena. Fortunately, he likes to smack them away from us. Near the end of this fight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the game, go into options, and switch my difficulty to normal. This is going to be really weird at first if you don't know about this game, but trust me, it's important. So once I beat this boss, I'm going to wait for the cutscene to start to skip it, and then I'm going to level up a good, I think, 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. And I'm going to put all the gems towards attack. So what happens in this game is casual difficulty has a side effect. Auto-assign skill gems is a skill that is locked on. You can't turn it off if you're playing on casual mode. And skill gems are... It'll assign skill gems, which are an item you get, you level up, which you can put towards a stat, in order of HP, attack, defense, and fidget power. However, on normal, that's not locked on. So if I change my difficulty to normal just before finishing the fight, then I can assign them all myself, and I put all 4 towards attack, so I can attack more. This cutscene skip, I've talked a bit about these cutscene skips. The one to skip this cutscene right here is actually considered the hardest thing to do in the whole game. Welcome to Blackmore Mountains. Blackmore Mountains is a pretty interesting area because of one thing that happens pretty early on, actually, that likes to confuse people, I guess. I like to think it'll confuse viewers that don't know about the run of this game, but then nobody, like, tends to point out the fact that they don't know what I'm doing. So, I'm gonna try. Coming up, we're gonna go get a new ability, because we need abilities to play this game. I've gotten a new ability in every chapter. Why stop here? Okay, so our new ability is right over there, but it's being guarded by a thingy. Let's murder the thingy. That's what you do in video games, right? A strategy I can use for this thing is I can hit it downwards. I can spike it using this attack into spikes, which will constantly rack up 100 damage, like a lot. You can see the damage that this enemy's taking. And there it goes. I was on the spikes in the cutscene. So now we have our double jump. Double jumps are cool, right? Something cool we can do with the double jump is a new movement thing that I'm not really going to be able to do right now because I have to move upwards a lot, and upwards is not sideways. That's not the answer to the question, though. Because there's a question that, like, no marathon viewer has ever had, ever, but I was really hoping someone would have someday. I'm gonna hope somebody has it. What I'm trying to do here is, you see me moving to the side really quickly. I can do that with the, what's it called? I can do that with the double jump, chaining it with the dash attack, with the dodge, and jump. Like, if I dodge and then very quickly jump, I can go very far. And I can chain that into an aerial dust storm, actually, to move even faster. Here, I'm going to be doing another ledge clip. This one's kind of easier than the sorrowing ones. Still not easy, though, because guess who's bad at games? There we go. Okay. I want to be careful here, because there's a wolf that's still in bounds at this moment, and it can put you back in bounds, like that. I'm gonna get rid of it. I usually like to try and do an attempt where I can use it as a boost if needed, but if I go back in bounds, I just get rid of it. Alright. I'm gonna be trying to use audio cues to know where I am in my dust storming. So... got it. Alright, so this is Ice Cave Skip. If you remember this game, you might remember a part where you had to go through an ice cave to break a bunch of pillars, and that would cause an avalanche, which would let you progress upwards to the mountain. I'm skipping that part of the game. By going out of bounds, in that area, I can make it to the roof of the ice cavern, and then go upwards, and then eventually I'll reach this, where I'll dunk a wolf back down and have to do all the flying over again. That's not what I want. The dunk is a really annoying attack, because it happens in midair without you wanting it to happen because of the locked-on auto-fire technique of casual difficulty, and then you have to fly back up. Ideally, what I want to do is I'll want to boost off of an enemy here and go back in bounds with a lot of height. So I need to get to a place where I can clip back in and guide an enemy over there. There we go. Alright, so that was Ice Cave Skip. That was one of the biggest skips in the run, basically. It saves a lot of time. I don't know the exact amount of time it saves, but it is pretty major. And now we're just going to keep climbing Blackmore. Here's the avalanches that usually activated when we hit the thingy. I tried to skip them by flying over them, but I didn't have enough height, so I didn't get to do that entirely. Alright, so here what I'm going to try and do is try and get this enemy over here to bait into attacking me, so it'll be distracted so I can get away and he won't cause a red barrier, because red barriers are evil, and I don't like them. Okay, come on. Alright. There we go. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a boost off of this enemy and then jump up here to do stuff. I'm going to turn to the left to damage boost. And I keep getting on platforms that I don't want to be on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be trying to just skip platform cycles on platform cycles by damage boosting and using the double jump to just jump on spikes. Like that. Nailed it. This part can red barrier me. It didn't. Okay, so here this is going to be interesting. So you don't see it. I actually have a wind pushing against me in this section. I have weather effects turned off on the graphics because, quite simply, they would kill the bitrate if they were on. But there is actually a wind pushing me to the left in this section of the game. Here I can jump up this way. Boom. Past an enemy that usually is very annoying to fight. And now I'm going to just keep moving this way. That's what the double jump movement looks like. Still doesn't answer the question that I'm hoping someone has, but it's part of it. Part of it. So now we're going to do another skip here. Kind of similar to the beginning of the game. There's a mini-boss fight here that I'm going to skip by trying to fly over it. Once I reach this point, I'm good to just start dodging. I've skipped the cutscene. And there's another one here. Here we're having memories. So I never mentioned this, but Dust has no memories in this game. This is his old house. We basically learned that he is a soul fused with of this character, Ginger, the orange ones. Her brother mixed with a deadly warrior meant to destroy the evil guy. By the way, if you forgot, that's the evil guy on the right. Alright, so coming up, we're going to head to the final chapter. Before I do that, I'm going to go back to the village. And if you remember what I did very early on in the run, where I tried to skip a cutscene by playing another cutscene while exiting a loading zone, doing that again. So after this little chapter entrance animation, heading into the final chapter of the game, we're going to have this cutscene play over the Moonblood Camp cutscene. Alright, so now we're in the Moonblood Camp.
We welcome your presence.
I need to talk to this cutscene. Alright, so, the question that I was hoping somebody had was, if you have an infinite height glitch in this game, why'd you grab the double jump? Because you can't skip the double jump in this game. Double jump skip is a valid skip that you can do. However, there's a skip I'm going to be setting up for right here that requires the double jump that is going to save more time than double jump skip does. So it's faster to go out of your way to get the double jump to do the skip I'm setting up for right now than it saves to get double jump skip. I just need to actually get the skip. I need to enter the screen with, like, the highest height possible. Which I'm not doing right now. That's fun. Heck. Alright, once I enter the screen with the highest height possible, which that is still not it. Come on. This game. This skip is pretty hard. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to... That is still too low. That should be good. I'm going to double jump onto this screen and then right dodge onto that screen, and I still missed it. Alright, cool. I get to try it again. Maybe a refresh on the setup will be good. The thing is, if you bump this ceiling, you kind of, like, lose your combo, so I have to be careful not to bump the ceiling. This should be good, though. I don't know where I am. Okay. This is annoying. I did not struggle with this skip at all in practice, so... What? I don't even know what happened there. Okay. I can't really opt to not do this skip because of a previous skip I did actually skipped something that makes this part of the run, like this part of the game, I actually would be soft locked if this skip didn't exist because of a different skip I did. So I can't really opt out of it. This should be good. What? This is great. All right. Come on. No. We got it! Alright, there we go. So this is yellow gate skip. If you remember the resonance gems I was talking about, this is going to skip the yellow resonance gem, which we need to do 2 quests in this area in order to unlock. But there's the gate up there. I'm going to be flying right under it. And back in bounds. Alright, there we go. So once we do that, we're going to set up for another skip right here. This is going to be steam jump skip, or wind jump skip. I don't know why I always call it steam jump. It's wind jump. Wind jump is an ability that we get that is supposed to double, or like, if you're in an upwards wind stream and you jump, you're going to get a massive jump. It basically just works as a very quick height gain. However, it's very slow to get. So it's faster every time we need a big height gain to use some sort of boost or rising dust storm rather than actually using the wind jump. So we're going to skip that. Okay, now this skip is actually harder than yellow gate skip, so if I get it first try, we can do one more area entrance skip right here. I didn't get it. Alright, so now we're in the final part of the game. We're in Everdawn Basin. Everdawn Basin is where the war is going on between us and the bad guy. So I'm going to be trying to do it quickly. This is a fairly repetitive part of the game. We're basically just gonna be flying over everything for a little while. There's a part where it's gonna change, but for now, nothing happens, really, because we're flying over all the action. Music's great for this, though. Fun fact about this red barrier, it doesn't exist unless there's a ship in the area. Those wolves, it looks like they can activate it, but they can't. Here's a teleporter if we need to go back anywhere, because that's going to be our last chance to turn back before the end of the game. I'm not turning back, though. One thing I am going to want to do is, around here, I'm going to want to get the biggest boost I can and start flying upwards. I want to be on the ceiling. And you see these cannon shots. Okay, so I successfully skipped the cutscene that introduces us to the cannons. At this point, we're supposed to stay underground to dodge cannon fire. However, since I don't die on casual difficulty, what I'm going to basically be doing for cannon sections is I'm going to be just trying to push through all the cannons. This is horribly luck-based, and I hate it. Because the cannons can push you backwards super far, even when invincible. But it's just a thing in the run we gotta do. So there's cannon 1. There's 3 cannons we're gonna actually have to get past. 2 of them are a problem. 1 of them isn't. So yeah, now we're in the realm of cannon number 2. And I'm just gonna be trying to eat food every now and then so we don't have to watch the death animation, because it's a slow animation. Yeah, you can see what the problem with this part of the run is. Everything, the cannons just keep knocking you backwards if you're unlucky, and you can't really do anything about it. That's cannon number 2. That's the last cannon that we'll have to deal with. Alright, so now we're headed to the end of the game. So, if you remember this game, one thing that might be insanely memorable to you is the amazing inability to get up from enemy attacks. That is so good. I love it. It's not what I was trying to talk about. Is the amazingly beautiful, difficult, insert word here, death. Good. 4-phase final boss against General Gaius, who we've been hating this whole game. What do you think is going to happen in this game? We're going to skip it, we're going to skip it, or we're going to skip it. We're going to bring back a trick that we haven't used since Chapter 2. The save point height glitch. And go through the wall. And then we're going to go to this screen, and then we're going to fly near the top of it, around this point, to trigger the 4th phase of the final battle. So yeah, now we're at the end of it, and this phase is pretty interesting because this phase has a stun lock on it. The one time I want to dunk, and I can't dunk. Okay. So, okay, please. So what I'm trying to do here is, why can't I dunk in this game? What has happened to me? Please? Okay. So what I'm trying to do, but the game doesn't want me to do, is... What is happening? Okay, I'm legitimately concerned about the game, because it's not reading my inputs. I'm not trying to do the little, like, down thing. What I'm trying to do is that. The down throw. That's the dunk that I want to do. And if I can combo him right here, bosses like this usually have invincibility frames to keep you from comboing them. However, I can lock guys like this because he can't land in the lava. So, him trying to land in the lava, he'll just do some jump out where he'll have invincibility frames, but the game won't let him do anything until he lands. And that jumping animation is long enough to get rid of the invincibility frames on him. So, I just need him to stop jumping around the platform. Okay, I don't understand why this fight is breaking on me, but it is. So, I'm like one combo away from killing him anyways. There we go. Once we do enough damage on him, we need to actually get up there and hit him once. And then there's going to be a loud explosion. There it is. Of course we're overestimate. This game. This game is, I mentioned it a lot earlier, how it's fun, but it's hard. It's, like, inconsistent. Like, this game just hates you for existing sometimes. To end off the game, we have 45 or so seconds of crawling to the right. This is fun.
Crawl, 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 crawl.
I'm going.
Crawl, crawl, crawl.
But yeah, time's gonna start when the ending starts. Which is right? Time. Alright, that was horrible. That was one of the worst runs I've had in a very long time.
You are. But Cassius is gone.
This is a really beautiful ending.
The world we once loved.
I'm not gonna spoil it though. Play the game. Yeah, no, this is a really good game. Even if you don't want to run it, I definitely recommend at least playing it. I'm gonna be running 2 games later in the marathon that'll hopefully go better than this one. So I hope you're excited for those. But coming up, I think is it Faye or is it Fee? How do you say that?
It's Fia. It's Swedish,
Fia.
actually.
Okay. Next up is Fia, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying fear in a really funny accent. I'm full of fear.
Thank you very much, Laurie, for the dust run. That was really good. Congratulations on breaking the dust.
It took a year. This is what took a year.
An entire year.
Funnily enough, I think this run.
And I'm proud of you.
Funnily enough, I think this run was worse than what my PB was a year ago. My PB now for this game is 53.49. which I actually obtained in the last marathon run I did for this game. So, yeah, thanks for coming out to watch this.
You did great, I promise.
Alright.
Thanks everyone for watching Power Up with Pride, Winter Pride 2018. Stay tuned for FIA with Corundum Core.